So for as long as I can remember, I've had a love of the sport. When I was able to, at the age of 7, I started going to the local curling club. In my community, if you didn't play hockey in the winter, you played curling. When I went off to university in Halifax back in the early 2000s, I just took some time off from the sport just to really focus on my studies. And then my stepdaughter saw curling in the Olympics, it would have been 2006. And she said, Dad, I'd like to go try that sport. And the next thing you know, I'm taking a coaching workshop, and then one thing leads to another. You end up running the program, and then the technical director position opened up with Nova Scotia Curling, so I ended up in there. So then it ended up being this huge part of my life.
Well, growing up, I always liked sports. My favorites were for sure golf and curling. And with golf, there's like a huge support of Indigenous people. That's kind of good about golf. I don't really have that much with curling.
When you walk into a curling club as a person of color, the first look that you usually get is, what are you doing here? It's not that, and this is the part I really emphasize on, it's not that there's inherent racism at the club. It's just because you're not used to seeing a person of color, there's a moment of apprehension as to what you're doing here. If you truly want diversity within your club, then you need to make a point of reaching out to the diverse community.
With curling, I kind of can't be, this Indigenous person, with their slang and all of that, On curling, I gotta be more I guess, white, kind of, joke around here and there, but not how I do it on the golf course, and I do play with some people that they make me feel comfortable. Most of the people I play with for curling are white, but I've made a bond with them and kind of my curling family now, so.
So right now I'm working with Gold Line Curling on designing a broom that talks about the history of Black people within Canada. And what I hope to do is, as people bring this broom to the clubs, it forces a conversation within the club about not only the history of Black people in this country, but the history of Black people in the sport, which quite frankly is non-existent.
With the design, I have a bunch of beautiful artwork. But that artwork really tells the story of who I am, where I come from. On the broom, at the handle, there's going to be Sin Murdered Indigenous Women Red Hand logo. That really means a lot to me, because we really need to stop all our women and young girls from getting stolen and murdered. And then all the beautiful design artwork on my broom, the eagle and the feather and the sweetgrass and the peace pipe. I know my grandma said that all an Indigenous person needs is sweetgrass, a peace pipe, and an eagle feather to survive. I really want people to see it and know that was one of the reasons why some Indigenous people got into the sport. They saw my project, saw my broom, and that really connected with them. And so that really made me happy to know that people got into sport because they saw my broom and what I did as growing up into curling.
The proceeds from this broom are going towards a not-for-profit that I'm on the verge of starting that I truly believe will work at solving this issue from both ends. So the job of our foundation is to link both those sides together. We want to bring more BIPOC youth in general into curling. And we can do that through things like the Rocks and Rings program, for example, or listening and working with community partners, while at the same time having these conversations with curling clubs about the barriers that exist. I talked about this with somebody else. It would be really cool that in 20 years, we can create a second version of this broom, but have famous professional Black curlers who played in the sport, who played at the Briar or the Scotties over the years. Or when you turn on the TV, the TSN, to watch the Briar and Scotties, you see a more true reflection of what Canada really is. We all need to humble ourselves a little bit and be open to learning if we truly want to solve this issue.
More involvement with the people of color, someone from back home saying they made the NHL or something, I guess Ethan Bear, he's the next reserve over, and he made the NHL. That's A lot of young youth really want to be something like him, because he made it and they know now that they can make it. You don't really see many people in like golf, curling. I guess you rarely see people in basketball, even in the high levels. Being able to like have people make it that high, that really help youth and all that of Indigenous people really want to like take sports seriously.
We're getting really close to unveiling both. I can't wait till both of them get revealed to the public, because that's when the real work's going to start, and we'll really have some great conversations about how we're going to go about tackling and solving this issue.